The text came through while I was in a board meeting reviewing Q3 acquisitions. Hey Kyle. About Dad's 65th next month. The party's at Harbor Yacht Club. Tiffany invited her CEO and some of her work friends. Given your situation, maybe it's better if you sit this one out? Your job title would be awkward in the photos. You understand. I stared at the message from my older brother Derek for a long moment. Around the conference table, my executive team was waiting for my response to the CFO's presentation, but I'd gone silent. Kyle. Sarah Chin, our chief strategy officer, looked concerned. Everything okay? Fine, I said, setting my phone face down. Sorry. Continue. But I wasn't fine. I was thinking about my job title and how it would supposedly embarrass my family at my own father's birthday party. After the meeting, I sat alone in my corner office. 32nd floor, panoramic water views, custom Italian furniture, and reread Derek's message. My situation. My job title. I was a janitor. That's what my family thought anyway. Specifically, I was part of a commercial cleaning crew that worked nights at office buildings. It was honest work and I'd never been ashamed of it, but my family had been mortified for the past 7 years. What they didn't know was that I owned the cleaning company. All 17 branches across 3 states. And the property management firm that operated 42 commercial buildings. And the real estate investment portfolio worth $340 million. But sure. My job title would be embarrassing. I typed back, okay. That was it. Just okay. Let Derek think he'd solved his problem. My phone buzzed immediately. Thanks for understanding. We'll celebrate with you some other time. Right. Some other time. Like the last 3 other times they'd scheduled then cancelled. I pulled up my calendar. Dad's birthday was May 18th, 3 weeks away. That same morning I had a meeting I'd scheduled months ago. A casual brunch at my waterfront estate with Rebecca Martinez, the CEO of Martinez Digital Solutions, one of the fastest-growing tech firms in the region. Rebecca and I had met at a charity auction 2 years ago. She'd been impressed that someone in property management, my polite euphemism, had bid $150,000 on a fundraiser package. We'd stayed in touch, became friends, and now I was considering investing $25 million in her company's Series C round. The brunch was meant to be informal, just Rebecca, her husband, and a +1 she'd mentioned. She wanted to show her team that investors were real people, not just names on term sheets. I looked at Derek's text again, then at my calendar. Then I smiled. My family's misunderstanding had started 7 years ago when I was 25. I'd been working for a commercial cleaning company called Spark Clean, doing exactly what my family thought. Mopping floors, emptying trash, cleaning offices after hours. The pay was terrible, the hours were brutal, but I'd needed a job and they'd hired me immediately. What I'd noticed, though, was how badly the company was run. Inefficient routes, outdated equipment, high employee turnover, and customers who were routinely overcharged for substandard service. The owner, a guy named Frank, was coasting on contracts he'd signed a decade ago and didn't care that he was losing clients left and right. I'd started making suggestions. Better scheduling software. Investment in modern equipment. Employee retention programs. Frank had ignored every single one. So I'd started my own company. Took me 2 years working double shifts and saving every penny. I took business classes at night, studied operations management, learned everything I could about scaling service businesses. When I finally had enough capital, I bought 3 industrial-grade cleaning machines, hired 2 employees, and started bidding on small contracts. My family's reaction had been, not supportive. You're still cleaning toilets, Derek had said. Just now you're responsible when something goes wrong. It's honest work, I'd replied. It's embarrassing, my mother had corrected. Derek has his MBA. He's in finance. What do we tell people you do? Tell them I own a business. A cleaning business, she'd said like the words tasted bad. But I kept going. Within a year I had 12 employees and contracts with 8 office buildings. Within 2 years I'd bought out Frank's company when he finally retired. He'd run it so far into the ground that I got it for $200,000, including all his existing contracts and equipment. Within 3 years I had 50 employees and had expanded into property management. If I was already in these buildings every night, why not manage them too? Within 5 years I'd started buying the buildings themselves. Small commercial properties at first, then larger ones. My cleaning company gave me inside knowledge of which properties were well maintained and which owners were struggling. I could make offers before buildings even hit the market. By year 7, now, I owned Clean Core Solutions, 17 branches, 340 employees, Core Property Management, 42 buildings, and a real estate investment portfolio that I'd been systematically building property by property. My personal net worth, according to my last financial review, $340 million. My family's understanding of my career. He cleans offices. I tried to explain, especially in the early years. But every conversation went the same way. It's still just cleaning, my mother would say. He's not a doctor or a lawyer, my father would add, disappointment thick in his voice. Derek, with his finance MBA and his job as a mid-level investment analyst at a regional firm, was the golden child. Never mind that his salary was $120,000 a year and he'd complained about money constantly. He had the right kind of job. So I'd stopped trying to explain. I let them think what they wanted. It was easier than fighting for respect I shouldn't have had to earn. But apparently 7 years later I was still too embarrassing for family photos. The morning of May 18th was perfect. Clear skies, light breeze, temperature in the low 70s. My estate sat on 3 acres of waterfront property, with a main house, guest house, and a boat dock where my 40-foot yacht was moored. I'd bought the property 2 years ago for $8.5 million. The house had been a wreck. The previous owner had let it deteriorate badly, but I'd renovated it myself, or rather, overseen every detail of the renovation. When you owned property management companies, you learned which contractors were actually worth their rates. Now it was stunning. Modern but warm floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the water, chef's kitchen, infinity pool, landscaped gardens. I'd hosted exactly 3 events here. I wasn't much for entertaining, but today felt right. Rebecca was due at 11. I'd arranged for catering, nothing ostentatious, just excellent food, and had the terrace set up for dining with a view of the water. At 10:47 my phone buzzed. Rebecca, running 3 minutes late. Traffic at the bridge. My +1 is very excited to meet you. I smiled and replied, no problem. See you soon. At 10:53 I heard cars in the driveway. I walked to the front entrance and opened the door. Rebecca was getting out of a Tesla, looking professional casual in slacks and a blazer. Her husband, Michael, emerged from the passenger side. And from the back seat came a woman I recognized immediately. Tiffany. My brother's wife. She looked up at the house, my house, with wide eyes, clearly impressed. Then she turned toward the door, saw me standing there and froze completely. Kyle. Her voice came out as barely a whisper. Hey Tiffany. Kept my tone friendly, neutral. Welcome. Rebecca looked between us, confused. You two know each other? He's my brother-in-law, Tiffany said slowly, still staring at me like I'd materialized from thin air. Derek's brother. But I don't. This is. She looked back at the house, at the circular driveway with the fountain, at the pristine landscaping. You live here? I do, I said. Come in. Brunch is almost ready. Rebecca was putting pieces together. Wait. Kyle, you said you had family in the area but you didn't mention. She looked at Tiffany. This is so random. What are the odds? Yeah, Tiffany said faintly. What are the odds? I stepped aside, gesturing them in. Rebecca and Michael entered easily, admiring the entrance hall with its modern art and marble floors. Tiffany followed slowly, like she was walking through a dream. This is incredible, Michael said, looking up at the vaulted ceiling. How long have you lived here? 2 years. It needed a complete renovation when I bought it, but it was worth it. You bought? Tiffany started, then stopped. I'm sorry, I'm just confused. Derek said you worked in cleaning. I do, I said pleasantly. I own a commercial cleaning company. Also a property management firm. And I invest in real estate. Which is how I met Rebecca. We're discussing a potential investment in her company. Rebecca grinned. Kyle's being modest. He's about to write a $25 million check for our Series C round. Tiffany actually swayed. Michael caught her elbow. You okay, Tiffany? I need to sit down, she said. I led them through to the terrace. The caterers had outdone themselves. The table was set beautifully, overlooking the water where my yacht bobbed gently at the dock. Is that your boat? Michael asked. Yeah. Nothing too crazy, just a 40-footer. Good for weekend trips. Just a 40-footer, Rebecca laughed. Kyle, stop being humble. That thing cost more than most houses. Tiffany sank into a chair and pulled out her phone. Her fingers were shaking as she typed something. I could guess who she was texting. Brunch was delicious, but I barely tasted it. I was too busy watching Tiffany process her new reality. Rebecca and Michael were easy guests. They asked about the renovation, admired the view, and discussed the potential investment with genuine enthusiasm. Rebecca had built her company from nothing just like I had, and we understood each other. Tiffany kept looking around like she was cataloging everything. The custom furniture. The art on the walls. The infinity pool visible through the windows. The yacht. Every detail that screamed money. So Kyle, Rebecca said over her second mimosa, Tiffany tells me she works in your HR department. Small world. How did you two meet? Derek and I have been together for 8 years, Tiffany said quietly. Married for 5. But Kyle and I have barely spoken. Family gatherings were always brief. Busy schedules, I said diplomatically. Right, Tiffany said. Busy schedules. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it and her face went pale. Everything okay? Rebecca asked. Fine. My husband. He's at his father's birthday party. She looked at me. The one happening right now. At Harbor Yacht Club. Oh, that's today? I said mildly. I forgot. You forgot, Tiffany repeated. Busy schedules, I said again, taking a sip of coffee. Rebecca was starting to sense tension. Well, I'm glad the schedule worked out for today. Kyle, I wanted to ask about your property management approach. Tiffany mentioned you have quite a few buildings. 42 commercial properties, I said. Mostly mid-size office buildings, some retail spaces. The cleaning business and property management work well together. I can offer package deals which clients appreciate. Smart vertical integration, Michael noted. You're capturing value at multiple points in the chain. Exactly. Plus, being in the buildings every night gives me insight into maintenance issues, tenant satisfaction, potential problems. When I'm considering buying a property, I already know everything about how it operates. Brilliant, Rebecca said. And the real estate portfolio? How'd you get into that? Started small. One property then another. Reinvested profits, leveraged equity carefully. After a while, the portfolio builds itself. He makes it sound easy, Rebecca told Tiffany. It's not. Most people with his background wouldn't have seen the opportunity, let alone executed this well. His background, Tiffany said slowly. You mean cleaning offices? I mean starting with nothing, Rebecca corrected. Kyle told me he was working night shifts, saving every dollar, teaching himself business operations. That takes discipline and vision. Most people just complain about their circumstances. Kyle changed his. Tiffany was quiet for a long moment. Then, Derek said you were embarrassed about your work. That you didn't like talking about it. Did he? He said that's why you never came to family events. Because you felt inferior. I set down my coffee cup carefully. That's an interesting interpretation. What's the real reason? She asked. Rebecca and Michael had gone very still, sensing this was bigger than they'd realized. I stopped coming, I said quietly, because every time I did, someone made a comment about my situation. My job. How I should have gone to college, gotten a real career, done something to make the family proud. After a while, it was easier to just not be there. But you were building all this. Tiffany gestured around the terrace, the house, the view. Yeah. Why didn't you tell anyone? I tried. You were there, Tiffany. You were at that Christmas dinner 5 years ago when I mentioned buying my first building. Remember what Derek said? She closed her eyes. He said you were over-leveraged and would lose everything. And your mother said I should be more careful with money, she added. That I was gambling with my future. Right. So I stopped mentioning it. Let everyone believe what they wanted. It was easier than arguing. My phone buzzed. A text from Derek. Where are you? Tiffany said she's at your house? What house? What's going on? I showed the screen to Tiffany. Want to handle that or should I? She took a shaky breath. Do you mind if I call him? This feels like a conversation we need to have. Use the study. Second door on the left, down that hall. She stood, slightly unsteady, and walked inside. Rebecca waited until she was out of earshot, then, "Okay, so there's clearly a story there." "My family didn't approve of my career choices," I said simply. "They still don't know the full extent of what I've built. As of about 20 minutes ago, Tiffany's the first one who does." "The brother who's at the birthday party," Michael said. "He doesn't know?" "Nope. He texted me 3 weeks ago to uninvite me because my job title would be embarrassing in the photos." "Jesus," Rebecca said. "No wonder you're so private about your personal life. It's easier this way." "Is it though?" she asked gently. "I've known you 2 years, Kyle. You're brilliant, successful, genuinely kind. But you're also alone. No partner, no close family relationships. That's not sustainable." "Says the woman trying to get me to invest $25 million in her company," I joked. "I'm serious. You can't build an empire and have no one to share it with." Before I could respond, we heard raised voices from inside the house. Tiffany was audibly arguing with someone. Derek, presumably. "I'm looking at it right now, Derek. I'm sitting on his terrace. There's a yacht at his dock. The CEO of my company is here discussing a $25 million investment. You told me he cleaned toilets." Silence then. "I don't care what you thought. You uninvited your own brother from your father's birthday because you were embarrassed." "Of what? Of who?" "He's worth more than our entire family combined." More silence. "No, I'm not exaggerating. Rebecca just told me his real estate portfolio alone is worth over $300 million. Derek, we live in a condo." "A condo?" "He has a waterfront estate." Rebecca winced. "Should we go inside? Give her privacy?" "Probably too late for that," Michael said. Tiffany appeared in the doorway, her face flushed. "I'm so sorry. That was incredibly rude of me." "Family's complicated," I said. "No judgment here." She sat down heavily. "Derek's on his way over. He left the party." "Your dad's party?" "He's freaking out." "I imagine he is." "Kyle, I need to ask you something and I need you to be honest." "Okay. Did you invite me here on purpose? Did you know I'd be Rebecca's +1? "No," I said truthfully. "Rebecca told me she was bringing someone from her team, but she didn't say who." "This was coincidence." "Bad timing," Rebecca offered. "Or good timing depending on how you look at it." "Derek's going to lose his mind when he gets here," Tiffany said. "He built his whole identity around being the successful brother. The one with the MBA and the finance job. And now he knows that's not true," I finished. "It's not about the money," she said quickly. "It's about, you've been letting us treat you like you were less than. Like you hadn't accomplished anything." "Why?" "Because what I'd accomplished didn't matter to you all anyway," I said. "The respect I wanted, it wasn't about the money. It was about accepting that my path was different but still valuable. When I was starting out, when I really did clean toilets at night and go to business classes during the day, I needed someone to believe in me. You all made it clear that wouldn't happen unless I conformed to your definition of success. So I stopped trying. But you succeeded anyway." "Yeah. I did." Tiffany looked out at the water, at the yacht, at the infinity pool. "I feel sick. All those things Derek said about you. All the times we excluded you. That Christmas when you tried to tell us about buying the building." Derek laughed. "He actually laughed and said you were delusional." "I remember." "God, Kyle. I'm so sorry." Before I could respond, we heard tires on gravel. A car door slammed. Footsteps running. Derek burst onto the terrace. He looked exactly like he had when I'd last seen him 6 months ago. Designer suit, probably Brooks Brothers. Expensive watch, definitely not Rolex level but trying. Carefully styled hair. He looked successful. He looked like someone who belonged at Harbor Yacht Club. He did not look like someone who belonged on this terrace. "What the hell is going on?" he demanded. Then he saw Rebecca. And Michael. And the full spread of brunch, the catered setup, the professional service. His eyes went to the yacht, then to the house behind us, then back to me. "Derek," I said calmly. "You're missing Dad's party." "Tiffany called me," she said. He seemed to lose his train of thought. "What is all this?" "Brunch meeting," I said. "Business." "Business." He looked at Rebecca. "Who are you?" "Rebecca Martinez, CEO of Martinez Digital Solutions." She extended her hand. Derek shook it automatically. I'm here discussing an investment opportunity with Kyle. Investment? Derek's face was doing something complicated. Kyle doesn't have investment capital. He works for a cleaning company. I own a cleaning company, I corrected. Also a property management firm. And a real estate portfolio. Rebecca and I are discussing my potential $25 million investment in her Series C funding round. Derek actually laughed. $25 million. Right. Tiffany said something crazy on the phone, but I thought she was confused. You're joking. I'm not joking. Kyle cleans offices. I employ 340 people who clean offices, I said. I manage 42 commercial properties. I own 17 of them outright and have equity positions in the rest. My company revenue last year was $47 million. My personal net worth is approximately $340 million. Any other questions? The silence was profound. Derek looked at Tiffany. Is this real? Very real, she said quietly. I've been here for 2 hours, Derek. It's all real. But you always said, he turned to me. You told me you worked in cleaning. I do work in cleaning. I built a business in cleaning. You assumed that meant I was poor. I never said that. You never said you were rich. Would you have believed me? I asked. 5 years ago when I mentioned buying that first building, you laughed and said I was delusional. What was I supposed to say? Actually, I'm on my way to being worth 9 figures. Please take me seriously now? Derek's face went through several colors. Red to white to red again. You let me, oh my God, do you know how many times I've offered to help you? To set up job interviews? I got you an application for our mailroom. Your mailroom, I repeated. At a firm where you make $120,000 a year. Yeah, I remember. How do you know my salary? Derek, I'm an investor. I research companies. Yours isn't hard to find salary information for. He looked around wildly, like the terrace might offer some explanation for how his reality had inverted. The yacht. That's yours. Yes. And this house. Bought it for $8.5 million 2 years ago. The renovation alone probably cost $2 million, Michael offered helpfully. Properties like this don't come cheap. Derek sat down abruptly in an empty chair. I don't understand. It's pretty straightforward, Rebecca said. Her tone was kind but firm. Your brother built a successful business while you were busy being embarrassed by him. Now he's worth significantly more than you'll probably ever make, and you're having trouble processing that. I wasn't embarrassed. You uninvited him from your father's birthday, Tiffany said. You specifically said his job title would ruin the photos. I just thought, Derek looked at me helplessly. Everyone always made fun of it. Mom and Dad were always disappointed. I was trying to protect you from that. By excluding me? By not making it worse. Derek, I said quietly, you made it worse every time you treated my work like it was something to be ashamed of. Every joke about cleaning toilets. Every time you offered to help me find a real job. Every time you acted like I was the family failure. But I didn't know. You didn't know because you never asked. You assumed. You all assumed. Rebecca stood. Michael and I should go. Give you two some privacy. You don't have to, I started. We do, she said firmly. She squeezed my shoulder. I'll email you the updated investment terms tomorrow. Today was enlightening. She looked at Derek. Nice to meet you. I hope you work this out with your brother. He deserves better than how he's been treated. Rebecca and Michael left. I heard their car start, gravel crunching as they drove away. Then it was just me, Derek, and Tiffany on the terrace. I need to tell Dad, Derek said finally. And Mom. They're still at the party. Everyone's asking where I went. I said there was an emergency. There isn't, I said. Go back. Finish the party. How can I after this? Derek, it's Dad's 65th birthday. Don't ruin it because you're having a crisis about my net worth. I uninvited you, he said. From our father's birthday. Because I thought you were an embarrassment. Oh my God. He put his head in his hands. Tiffany touched his shoulder gently. We both did. I agreed with you. I thought, she looked at me. We thought we were protecting the family image. We were just being snobs. Yeah, I said. You were. I'm sorry, Derek said. Kyle, I'm so sorry. I know you are. Can we fix this? I looked at my brother, genuinely distressed, sitting on my terrace realizing that every assumption he'd built his identity around was wrong. I don't know, I said honestly. You spent 7 years treating me like a disappointment. That's a lot of damage. I want to try. Please. Let me try. You should go back to Dad's party, I said. Tell him I'm sorry I missed it. Business came up. Come with me, Derek said suddenly. Come to the party. It's not too late. Dad would love to see you. Derek. Please. I know I have no right to ask. But please. Let me start fixing this by bringing my brother to our father's birthday. I looked at Tiffany. She nodded encouragingly. Fine, I said. Give me 20 minutes to change. Harbor Yacht Club was exactly as pretentious as I'd imagined. Valet parking, views of the marina, staff in white jackets, members in blazers and nautical-themed outfits. Derek's hand was shaking as he handed his keys to the valet. Everyone's going to ask where I went, he said. What do I say? Tell them the truth, I suggested. You left to pick up your brother. We walked into the main dining room. It was decorated for a party. Balloons, streamers, a banner that read, Happy 65th Birthday, Ray. My father was holding court at the head of a long table, surrounded by friends and family. My mother saw us first. Her face went from confusion to shock when she saw me beside Derek. Kyle. She stood up. What are you doing here? Derek said you couldn't make it. Schedule opened up, I said. My father turned, saw me, and his face lit up. Whatever else was complicated in our family, Dad had always been genuinely happy to see me, even if he was disappointed in my career. Kyle, you made it. He came over and pulled me into a hug. I'm so glad you're here, son. Happy birthday, Dad. But I thought, Derek said. Change of plans, Derek interrupted. I went to pick him up. From his house. Your apartment, you mean? Mom said. His house, Derek repeated. His waterfront estate with the yacht. Kyle, show them a picture. Derek, I started. No more hiding. Derek pulled out his phone, found a photo he'd apparently taken of my house from the driveway and showed it to our parents. The reaction was gratifying in a petty way I wasn't proud of. Mom's mouth fell open. Dad squinted at the screen like it might be fake. That can't be, Mom looked at me. Kyle, where did you get that kind of money? I built a business, I said. Over 7 years. I tried to tell you, but no one wanted to listen. The nearby tables were starting to pay attention. I could feel eyes turning our direction. What business? Dad asked. Commercial cleaning. Property management. Real estate investment. My company did $47 million in revenue last year. Someone at the next table gasped. Word was spreading. 47 million, my mother repeated faintly. And his personal net worth is about $340 million, Derek added. The house alone cost $8.5 million. Plus renovations. Derek, you don't need to, I said. Yes, I do. Because I'm the one who told you not to come today. I said your job title would be embarrassing. I was wrong. I was incredibly, stupidly wrong. The entire dining room had gone quiet now. Everyone was watching our family drama unfold. Dad was still staring at the photo. You own this. I do. And the business, you started it yourself? 7 years ago. I was working for a cleaning company, noticed it was poorly run and started my own. It grew from there. Why didn't you tell us? Mom asked. It was the same question Tiffany had asked. I gave the same answer. I tried. Every time I mentioned what I was building, someone made a comment about how I was wasting my time or over-leveraged or fooling myself. Eventually I stopped trying. Let you believe what you wanted. But we would have, Mom struggled for words. We're your parents. We would have supported you if we'd known. Would you? I asked gently. Or would you have supported me because I was suddenly successful in a way you respected? Because those are different things. She didn't have an answer for that. Dad set down his drink. Son, I owe you an apology. Dad, it's your birthday. I owe you an apology, he repeated louder. The room was still silent, everyone listening. I've spent 7 years being disappointed that you didn't follow a traditional path. I wanted you to get your MBA, work at a firm, climb a corporate ladder. I thought that was the only way to succeed. He paused, emotion thick in his voice. But you built something. You took a risk, worked your ass off, and built something real. And I was too blind to see it. I'm sorry. My throat was tight. Thanks, Dad. I'm proud of you, he said. I should have said it 7 years ago. I'm saying it now. I'm proud of you. Around the room, people started clapping. It was absurd and theatrical and completely genuine. Mom was crying. I'm sorry too. We've been terrible parents about this. You haven't been terrible, I said. Just limited in your definition of success. Can you forgive us? She asked. I'm working on it, I said honestly. This is a lot. Derek put a hand on my shoulder. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you too. And I'm sorry. For all of it. I looked at my brother, the golden child who'd just had his worldview shattered, and saw genuine remorse. I know, I said. Dad gestured to the table. Well, you're here now. Sit. Tell me about this business of yours. I want to hear everything. The party continued, but everything had shifted. People who'd barely acknowledged me in years suddenly wanted to talk, ask questions, hear about my company. It was exhausting and vindicating in equal measure. Tiffany found me by the bar an hour later. How are you holding up? She asked. Honestly, I don't know. This is weird. The weirdest, she agreed. For what it's worth, I meant what I said earlier. Derek and I are both sorry. We were horrible to you. You were. Is there any way we can make it up to you? I thought about it. Be better going forward. That's all I want. Not apologies, not guilt. Just see me for who I actually am. We will, she promised. Derek's already talking about having you over for dinner. Actually over, not just obligatory holiday appearances. That would be nice. She smiled. And Kyle. Thank you. For what? For not giving up on yourself. For building something amazing even when no one believed you could. That takes strength. I'm sorry it took me this long to see it. A month later, I had dinner at Derek and Tiffany's condo. It was smaller than they'd probably like, in a building I actually owned, though I didn't mention that. Derek made pasta, Tiffany opened wine, and we talked like actual family for the first time in years. How's the investment going? Derek asked. With Rebecca's company? Closed last week. $25 million for 8% equity. They're doing great things. That's incredible. He hesitated. Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you hate me? For how I treated you? I set down my wine glass. No. I'm disappointed. Hurt definitely. But not hate. I was jealous, he admitted. That's what Tiffany helped me realize. You took this huge risk and it paid off. I took the safe path. MBA, corporate job, steady paycheck, and I'm doing fine. But you're doing better than fine. You're thriving. And instead of being happy for you, I told myself you were doing something embarrassing so I could feel superior. That's pretty self-aware, I said. Therapy, Tiffany interjected. Started 2 weeks ago. Derek nodded. Turns out I have some things to work through. Don't we all? I said. We talked late into the evening, and when I left, Derek hugged me tight. I'm glad you're my brother, he said. And I'm sorry it took me this long to act like it. Me too, I said. And I meant it. 6 months after Dad's birthday party, my parents hosted Thanksgiving. The whole family was there. Derek and Tiffany, my sister Sarah and her husband, various cousins, aunts, uncles. Everyone treated me normally, which was simultaneously wonderful and surreal. No one made jokes about cleaning toilets. No one offered to help me find a real job. They just accepted me. After dinner, Dad pulled me aside. I've been thinking, he said, about my retirement. I'll be 66 next year and I'm ready to slow down. That's great, Dad. I was going to ask Derek to help me plan the financial side. Make sure we're set up properly, investments allocated correctly. He paused. But honestly, I think you'd be better at it. Would you be willing to take a look at our portfolio? Professional opinion. It was a small thing. A request for help. But it represented something bigger. Trust, respect, acknowledgement of my actual expertise. I'd be happy to, I said. Thank you, son. He smiled. I really am proud of you. I know I said it at the party, but I want you to know I mean it. You built something remarkable. Thanks, Dad. And Kyle. He squeezed my shoulder. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. That night, driving home along the waterfront, I thought about the journey. 7 years of being underestimated, dismissed, treated as an embarrassment. 7 years of building something anyway, proving myself to the only person whose opinion really mattered. Me. The validation felt good. Having my family finally understand, finally respect what I'd built. That felt good too. But what felt best was knowing I'd done it without their approval. I'd succeeded because I believed in myself even when no one else did. That was worth more than any net worth, any property portfolio, any investment. I was exactly who I'd always wanted to be. Someone who didn't need permission to succeed. And finally, my family was starting to see it too.